follow my lead. We on the road to achieve
success and settle for less.
No need.
If you could dream, you can achieve what you believe.
What's going on, Iron Body Crew? It's your boy D-Wills here, coming at y'all doing another video. In today's video, I am going to be discussing whether you should use lightweight, high reps, or heavyweight with low reps. Most of the time in the industry, you'll find that you got these ambassadors of the people who say you should use, if you're natural, you should only use lightweight with high reps, and you'll have the ambassador side of the heavyweight and low reps. But in actuality, both sides are wrong. In order for muscle to be maximally developed, you have to be able to utilize both lightweight and heavyweight. All right, the reason being is because hypertrophy, which is more of the general term for basically building muscle, it's more of like an umbrella that exists underneath hypertrophy. So you have the myofibrillary hypertrophy and the what you refer to as the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Now, the myofibrillary hypertrophy is basically increasing the tissue of the muscle itself, whereas in sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is where you're basically pumping as much fluid in the muscle as much as possible. That's to put it in layman's terms. Okay, so that's what most bodybuilders use in order to try to get their muscles bigger, which really calls for a lot of high metabolic fatigue, which is a lot of volume. The pump, you're trying to basically pump as many metabolites into the muscle as much as possible to get as much fluid and blood in that muscle as much as possible to make it bigger. But for muscle in and of itself, myofibrillary hypertrophy and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, both of those have to be maximally developed if you're trying to get maximally developed muscles. If you're really trying your best to get maximally developed muscles, right? And so what happens is you'll have people who do lightweight with high reps who get good results from it, but it's never maximized as much as possible. Yet you'll also get people who do heavyweight low reps who get pretty good results from that too. Now, what trains the myofibrillary hypertrophy is mechanical tension. Mechanical tension is basically how much weight you're lifting, okay? That's weight on the bar, okay? That's lifting as much weight pretty much as you can within a certain range, okay? It can be the 3 to 5 rep range is what I consider mechanical tension, or anything that's 5 reps and under. Now, the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, what you do to train for that is you have to go into deep metabolic fatigue. So usually sets of 12 and up, or 15 and up, right? You can even go to failure. But the idea is to get as much fluid and build up as many metabolites into the muscle as much as possible to go into deep metabolic fatigue, because that's how you can really benefit sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. All right, now the balance is trying to understand how much of both you need, because again, you need both. It's never just one or the other. That's why periodization exists, or that's one of the reasons why periodization exists. So anybody who knows what I'm talking about, a linear periodization program will incorporate both heavyweight mechanical tension, and it'll also include light to moderate weight where you can go to deep metabolic fatigue. Okay, so the way a traditional linear periodization program will start is you'll start with reps of 12 to 15 the first week. By the time you get to week 12 or week 16, you're only doing reps of 2 or 3. You know, you're at like 90 to 95% of 1 rep max. Okay, so you're only doing mechanical tension type training. Okay, so in a traditional linear periodization program, you're doing both training styles. You're doing both mechanical tension with heavy weight, lower volume, and you're also doing metabolic fatigue with lighter weight and higher volume. Both coming together, because it does create a synergy, both coming together to give you maximally developed muscles. So never try to stay into one range, always try to incorporate both. So if you're trying to incorporate both, what you could do is you may decide, okay, for 2 weeks straight, I'm only going to focus on doing lightweight or lighter weight with high reps, short rest periods. The rest periods got to be pretty short though. If you're really trying to maximize the deep metabolic fatigue, you can't really have too long rest periods, so you want to try to aim for that 30 to 60 seconds. And then you may decide after that, you're going to go with 2 months of mechanical tension where you can really focus on how much weight you can get up to really try to build, strengthen those muscle tissues. And you can go back and forth between, and traditionally you would be increasing the weight through each cycle. So even taking it back to the linear periodization program, if you're starting off with 100 pounds for 12 reps, right, at week 1, and then by the time you get to week 16, you're doing like, I don't know, 200 for 2 reps. Once you repeat the cycle at week 1, now instead of doing 100 pounds for 12 reps, you'll be doing 105 pounds for 12 reps, okay? Because that's progressive overload. And then you'll go all the way up, and then of course, instead of you doing 200 pounds for 2 reps, you will be doing 200 pounds or 205 pounds for 2 reps. That's the progressive overload. Really, you could just keep on recycling that over and over again and just keep increasing the weight throughout each cycle, where you can maximize both, again, mechanical tension, myofibrillar hypertrophy, and both lightweight, moderate weight, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, both coming together to maximize the general hypertrophy, which is what you want to build muscles maximally. So once again, never get caught up in, I should train only lightweight or I should train only heavyweight. You always train both styles. Always train both styles. That's why if you notice some of the best bodybuilders out there, they do both powerlifting and they both do, you know, the bodybuilding style training where, you're doing reps of 10, 12, 15, low rest periods, but they're also able to really get the thick, dense muscle from doing a lot of the powerlifting. You do need to still try to utilize certain modalities in order to try to keep going, because even within a traditional linear periodization program, there still will be stalls, all right, but as you become more advanced, there's ways to get around that, and there's different programs that you can do in order to keep results coming. But for majority of people, a traditional linear periodization program is really all you need. Some people go with a non-linear periodization program, which studies have shown will give you better muscle growth, but it's not drastically much more. It's a little bit more complicated. You're going through different rep ranges. So you would be doing something like an undulating periodization scheme where you would be doing different reps throughout the course of the week where you can really stress different muscle fiber types. But again, for most people, to keep it simple, straight to the point, a traditional linear periodization is the way you want to go. It's time proven. People have done it for decades and decades with excellent results. Is the way to go. And once again, like I said, you can utilize both training styles, which will allow you to maximize your muscles. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's been informative to you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Take it easy. Peace.